Hi, Rama. It's week 11, day 1 of our Bible narrative reading plan. Today we're in Numbers chapter 22 and 23. We're at the humorous story, and if you've read it before, the familiar story of Balaam and Balaam's donkey. Now, the story actually extends for several chapters, and our plan doesn't have us reading all of it. You're welcome to do so if you want to get the full scope of the story. And I'm not going to try to walk through every detail of it. You need to read the whole story for yourself. I just want to make a few brief comments. As Israel is preparing to enter the promised land, they seem to be doubting God's plan for them. They've complained the entire 40 years, and they quickly forget God's promises to them. But this story serves to show us that even a pagan like Balaam, even a lost king like Balak, they can see that God is at work through the nation of Israel, that he has plans for them. We look at Balaam and perhaps we're trying to figure out, is he a good guy or a bad guy? That's the way we try to figure it out. Overall, it seems like the narrator of the story is telling us that Balaam is not a good guy. He seems to always be looking for more money. Even as he's working on behalf of the Lord, he's not in it for the right reasons. And it's a reminder that God can use even circumstances like that. After all, he can even make a donkey talk. That's a very funny story for most of us, but don't forget the big idea of what's going on is that God is at work. That the angel of the Lord is standing before Balaam, and Balaam is so blind he can't even see it. The donkey understands better than Balaam. We don't want to be hard-hearted that way. We don't want to be so far outside of God's will that we miss what God is doing. God is at work through the nation of Israel. He has an inheritance promised for them. They must trust the Lord. Even as we sometimes we get distracted from God's promises, we get consumed by the world around us, it's important for us to be reminded that just as God was working for the nation of Israel, he's also working for us. May we see God's work before our eyes far better than Balaam saw what God was doing. Here's a summary of today's reading. For more information, go to tunemyheart.org.